I just wanted to show you what the betting markets are doing for the Brexit odds, and this is like a comparison site in the UK of all the booking agents. It's been quite a while since I've placed a bet, but it's quite amazing how the odds are actually priced on this referendum. Now, the way that I used to place bets was via the decimal place, not via fraction. So, if you're familiar with fractions, apologies. Anyway, so the Remain vote is actually at 1.1, meaning if you put on £1 and the Remain vote wins, you will gain 10 pence. So, 10% would be your profit. You'd just get your £1 10 back. Now, if you were to win on the Leave vote, you'd get £7 back for every pound that you put on. So, from these numbers, it is pretty much telling you that it's going to be a landslide Remain win. Now, when you see decimals this tight together, it's the equivalent of saying you're betting on a football team, say Brazil against England, and Brazil are already 2-0 up, and there's only 20 minutes left to play. That's the sort of odds that you will see. And another analogy would be you could have Rafa Nadal playing against Andy Murray in the tennis in the Wimbledon's final, and Rafa Nadal would be 2 sets up to 0, and that would be the same odds that you would receive in that sort of match. So what it is basically telling you is all the money is flooding in near enough to the Remain vote, and that is tipping the odds obviously in the favour for the Remain. Now, a lot of people actually use betting agents as a gauge as to what is exactly happening in referendums, in political voting systems, because generally, if you follow the money, that's got the strongest power behind it and voice. So, what else is quite interesting here? If I click on the Remain, so at the minute we're on 1.1, 1.2, something like that. So, click on the Remain, and it will actually give you the previous pricings since midnight last night, and it's now 2:30 a.m. Voting polls have been open since this morning, since about 8 a.m. So we've had maybe 6 hours of voting already. But obviously, none of these ballots have been calculated yet until the polls close. So, how can indication be showing a change in odds when no results have actually been calculated yet? So, the only results that are being calculated is what's happening with the money in the UK. So, if we go back to midnight last night, the odds were 1.22, 1.25, 1.3. So for every pound that you put on, you get 22 pence back. Those odds have now halved by 50%. So you're now only getting 10p back. So in 14 hours, the odds have halved. And if I show you what's happening on the Leave side, we go back to midnight last night, and it's a 4-1, 3.5-1. So the odds are getting close to 50% on that as well. Getting there. Now, a lot of people are thinking that the voting is going to be extremely tight and close, and there's talks of the old 49 to 51% vote. As with everything these days, it's always an extremely tight vote on everything, and only 1 or 2% is the difference between the vote. So we can go into the Remain vote percentage, and this is where it breaks it down into the percentage of win or the percentage of loss. So anything that will be classed as close will be 50 to 60%. So here you're making £1.75 back for every pound that you put on. And then if you're talking about winning by a landslide, which would be 65% plus, you see the odds start going into large numbers, which is telling you it's extremely, extremely unlikely. But what is likely is it's going to be within the 50 to 60%. Now, if I flip back over to the leave, again, estimates are showing that the leave vote is going to be less than 47%. That is the favourite, less than 47%, meaning that the Remain vote is likely to be 53%, which is obviously the majority. 47% or more will give you 2.2 to 1. 45 to 50, where it's probably going to be 48, will give you almost 3. But what I'm taking from this is basically, although the voting hasn't even finished, and many people still won't have voted until this evening, the bookmakers are telling us that it's going to be a Remain vote. And that's even before you take into account rigging of the ballot boxes, artificial votes, missing votes, people that didn't turn up for the voting. Anyway, I just thought I'd show you this, guys, because this spells out exactly what the outcome's going to be. So anybody that's wondering what's happening and what's likely to be the outcome, this pretty much nails it in there for you and tells you black and white it's going to be a Remain. Now, it's also showing that the odds are shortening for the Remain, which means it's becoming almost more and more likely. And the Leave vote is odds drifting, meaning these numbers will go up and up and up. These numbers will go down and down and down. Now, to me, that says it all. Now, let me show you, for instance, what I'm talking about for those that still can't see. If I put £10,000 on the Remain to win, we would have a return of 11,200 with a 1,200 profit, which is extremely high risk because you end up losing a lot of money if they don't win for very little gain. However, if you bet on the Leave and you put the same amount of money on, you will make £50,000 profit for that very same bet. Now, bookmakers don't like to just give away money easily, so that's telling you that this is an extremely unlikely outcome. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.